Let's practice yoga. We're going to begin by warming up through the spinal column, and we're going to be strengthening the core today as well. Remember to always start from a position of comfort and stay relaxed and composed throughout. Let's tune into our breath now, because it's our breath that's going to be our guide. So take up a comfortable position, whether you're sitting cross-legged or in a chair, or you might need to extend your legs forward, or take up a kneeling position. But first and foremost, we'll close the eyes and connect with our internal self, our quieter side. Have your chin parallel with the mat or the floor. Take a breath in and rise up through your central column, your torso. Feel as if you're being lifted from the base of your spine through to the crown of your head. Take another breath in, and as you let go of that breath, draw your shoulders back. Bring the shoulder blades towards each other. This will open out across the front of your chest, whilst also allowing a sense of space to be created in the upper body. Unclench your teeth. Relax the skin on your face. Allow the breath to flow freely. Connect with the activity that is taking place in the trunk of your body as you breathe in and as you breathe out. Pay particular attention to the navel, the belly button. You'll notice that as you take a breath in, the stomach expands a little and the belly button pushes forward. And then as you breathe out, the belly button pulls in, back and down. The belly button pulling in, back and down is a way of giving great support to the vertebra of the spine, especially at the lower region. So acknowledge this, be aware of it. It's very useful. And then we'll open the eyes. Let's do a twist of the spine. So we'll take the left hand just outside of the left hip to the back of us. And we'll take our right hand and bring it outside the left knee. Breathe in and again rise up, create that space, and then slowly begin to twist and rotate the body. Moving first from the lower area, down here, deep in the tummy, the pelvis, and around the hips. And then another breath in, and you're thinking of creating some elevation with the flesh on the trunk of your body. And then rotating through the middle of the back, the thoracic spine. There's 12 vertebrae within the thoracic spine. You can turn them all, they're connected to the rib cage. The upper spine, the cervical spine, that then turns. And then head and neck twist and turn at the top of the spinal column. Keep the breath flowing in the fullness of the posture. And then return to centre, staying elevated, and swap the hands, ready to go in the other direction. Rise up, create space. Take time to create the space. At first, it may be the smallest amount that you're making, but as you progress, And as you communicate, especially with the breath, further and more, you'll find that you can make greater amounts of space. No force is required. Don't over twist or over stretch. And then coming back to that central position. And twisting of the spine can easily be achieved from a chair as well. So remember, if you are chair based, a lot of these positions can be practiced. It's about adapting and adjusting, using your ingenuity, and you will achieve being able to do the twists as well. Let's now do a forward flexion of the spine. Again, if you're in a chair, you can do this. If you are seated cross-legged, you might like to uncross the legs and recross. And first and foremost, we want to lift internally, so we want to pull our pubis to our navel. It's almost like it's a zipping up, and we've risen in the very base of our torso. We want to think about lifting our hips up away from our two femur bones. These are our femur bones here in our thighs, and we just lift the hips up, because the femur bone here, the end of it connecting into the hip, is a ball and socket joint. So the end of the femur will have this ball, and then the hip rests on like this. So when you breathe in and create that lift, you can then hinge forward when you do the forward bend, the flexion. You also want to continually be creating space up through the vertebral column, through your spine. It's a simple message from the mind saying lift, create space. So let's do that. Breathe in, rise up, and then exhale, hinge forward. Get to a point of comfort as well. Avoid going too far too soon. You want your sitting bones, both your buttocks, to remain connected with the mat. Bring the hands out in front of you. Take a nice deep breath in and create that space. And then as you exhale, just flex the elbows down. And release. Another breath in, lift the hips. Exhale, flex the elbows down. And then release, straighten the arms. Keep those buttocks connected with the mat. If you can sense that you've come forward too much and your bottom is lifting away from the ground, firmly place the bottom back. And then it might be that you just flex the elbows here. And in time, they will go further down as you create more stretch and flexibility within your skeleton. So another time, breathe in, exhale, flex, and release. And sometimes it's said that, well, it's difficult to find the time to practice yoga. This position can easily be practiced while you're sitting watching TV. Okay, so let's now join those two together, a forward bend and a twist. So let's bring our right arm in front of us. And imagine, if you are sitting on a chair, you can do this, because with your knees forward like this and your feet on the floor, you're going to be able to bring that forearm to rest on the knees. Just rest your left hand onto the left inner thigh. Nice deep inhalation, lift the tummy, create space. Exhale, let's hinge forward. So you're aiming to get the forearm down to the mat. You want the elbow, the forearm, the hand, all to reach the mat. If this is not possible at the moment, then you will rest it into the lap. Stay focused, stay with the breath. As you breathe in, feel that stretch coming up through the spine, and then we'll release the left hand and we're going to rotate the torso to the left and take the left hand up. Turning the head and neck to look up towards the raised hand. Unclench your teeth. Breathe. And then release and return to centre. Other side. Bring the left arm in front of you. Nice deep breath in, lifting up, creating space, relaxed shoulders. Every time you breathe out, you are able to surrender, relax, and let go. It's not about collapsing, it's just the release, softening into the posture, into the stretch. So let's create space, lifting up, especially pulling the pubis up to the navel internally. And then extending forward, reaching forward whilst having this lift coming up through the spinal cord. And then just taking your time to adjust and adapt, checking that the buttocks are both connected with the mat. Breathe in again, create further space, and then you're going to rotate to the right. Turning the trunk of the body, using the flesh to help the movement, engaging the skin, activating it. And then release the right arm and raise it up. Turning the head and neck to look up towards the hand. Be aware if perhaps just the right buttock is trying to lift up now, place it back into the mat. And if that means that you have to come back a little higher into the position to achieve a correct posture, then do so. And then return to the central position. Nice deep breath in and out. Just take that moment to feel how you have stretched. So let's move on to strengthening our abdominals, our core. It's great to have a strong core. Once you have strength in the centre of you, it then emanates outwards. And it's like a strength that grows through all the cells within your body. But it has to start at the core. It's the most challenging part. Most of us tend to let go of our stomach muscles first, but we have to regain them back. So let's bring ourselves to sit round and extend our legs forward for a moment, give them a little bit of a shake, release them out. And then we're going to sit centrally onto our sit bones, have the knees bent, and you're going to bring the arms to connect underneath, so you can make a link, having one hand round the wrist, whichever side you choose. And then you are going to take the balance on the buttocks. You want to rise up through the trunk of the body and imagine that you're pushing the heart forward. So you don't want to be all rounded or crushed down. You're rising up. You're drawing the trunk of the body towards the head. Chin parallel. And then slowly let's rise the toes to knee level. And look at the toes. Breathe here, just getting used to the position. And then release down. You can bring the hands forward and give yourself a hug. And then we'll go again. Take the grip on the opposite hand now. Take the balance. And see if you can straighten the legs. So now you want to be extending your thighs towards your feet and the belly and ribs up towards the upper chest and shoulders. Can you now stretch the hands away? And if you find this too challenging, you can have the hands beside you to begin with. Breathe. And then bring yourself to rest down for a moment, to surrender any tension that you may have pulled into your shoulders, neck, throat. And then let's try that once more. So take the grip behind the backs of the legs, take your balance on your sit bones, rise up through your torso, release the hands and straighten the legs. Unclench the teeth and let the breath flow. And then gently draw them in and release. Navasana, boat posture. And now let's try Ardha Navasana. So we'll have the knees bent once again. Have your feet very slightly parted. You're going to link the fingers, bring them behind the head. Have the elbows just drawing round very slightly, so it's almost like they're making a semicircle. Nice deep inhalation, rise up through the torso, and then drop the torso about 30 degrees and raise the toes. Using the eye line to look at the toes. And then release. Give yourself a hug. And once more. This time when you link the fingers as well, put the opposite index finger on top. So it might feel a little bit strange. So you're going to drop the trunk back 30 degrees, raise the toes. Breathe. And then draw yourself in and release. Give yourself a hug. And then we'll take ourselves down into Savasana, pose of tranquility, but we're going to still keep using the core muscles to achieve this. So let's extend the arms parallel to the mat, rise up from a breath in, and then as you exhale, stretch your fingers to the wall in front of you. So you are actually rounding the shoulders, scoop the belly, tilt the pelvis, and lower the spine down to the mat, connecting each vertebra as you do so. So it means to continually tilt the pelvis. You'll get to the point where the tummy will probably just want to collapse and you might flop down onto the mat. But that's the point when you want to hold on to the core and strengthen. And then once your spine is connected with the mat, Extend the legs to straighten. Allow the toes to drop outward. Have the heels about hip width apart. Let the arms roll away from the body. Draw the chin down towards the chest so that you rest centrally on the back of the head, the skull. And tune into the breath. And surrender, release. Let the shoulders drop back into the mat. Indeed, let go of the heavy weight of your body. Let go into the support of the earth beneath you. And soften. Close the eyes and release. Letting go of the heavy weight of your body, you feel safe to let go to the support of the ground beneath you. And this allows your body and your mind the brief time to draw in the nourishment of the simple exercises and movements that you have just done. And then you'll slowly open the eyes, lick your lips and swallow, bring back your sense of taste. Breathe in through the nostrils, sense of smell, be aware of any smells on or around you. Your sense of sound, your acoustic sense of sound, and listen outside of the room to any distant noises so that you may sharpen your sense of sound. Your kinesthetic sense of touch, you can feel the material against your skin. And then we're going to take a breath in and draw the knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a hug. You might like to rock from side to side. And then let's roll ourselves up. Bringing yourself into a comfortable position, hands to heart. Having gratitude for your day ahead, or if you're practicing this at the end of a busy day, have gratitude for all that you have experienced. And give thanks for your practice of yoga.